So I'm making money. I'm in the street. So I'm gonna stop making money and have a baby with this man who's not treating me right. So 5 months into my mom's pregnancy, she was headed to have an abortion with me. She went to the doctor. The doctor was like, okay, if you come tomorrow at 10 a.m., I will do the abortion. At 9:30, my dad came knocking on the door. They got into a big argument. My mom left the house about 10:30. She got to the doctor's office and he said, I told you 10 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, because of my tumultuous relationship with her dad, she threw her hand up in the air and said, name her Stormy.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Danielle K Show. We are here in Miami, and you guys, I have an amazing guest that I'm so honored to have in my home, Stormy Wellington. Welcome.
Hi, Danielle. I'm so excited to be here. This environment makes me don't want to touch anything.
Oh, it's very white. It's not
Very,
sterile. It's just
very.
very white, very clean.
Very classy and demure.
Yes. Well, you were here yesterday for the mastermind, and then I was like, hey, we got to do a podcast together.
Yes.
So I'm excited to have you here. And I feel like we've recently connected, but honestly, I feel like I've known you for much longer. So
Yes.
I was excited to have you on here just because you have an incredible story.
Thank you.
You've gone through a ton, and the person that you've become is inspiring.
Yes, thank you.
And I just think it's important that you share. You're similar like me and Garrett, where we'll share the crappy stuff.
Yes.
Because it's not only is it very freeing, but it gives other people permission to break free of whatever they're in and
Right.
really become whoever they want to be.
Exactly.
So you have an immense amount of success, but you have a crazy story.
Yes.
Even down to how you were raised.
Yes.
So let's start from the very, very beginning.
Hey you guys, it's Danielle K. White. Welcome to the Danielle K. White Show. On this podcast, what you can expect is anything from fashion, fitness, hair, and yes, even family. I'm the creator of Natural Beta Real Hair Extensions and Isla Hand-Tied Hair. But what I'm really passionate about is sharing other people's stories, how they went from the pit to the peak, how entrepreneurs build the success that you see online today. So definitely tune into this podcast for a good story and a little bit of fashion and a little bit of hair and beauty mixed in.
Oh, all right. Well, first of all, it is an honor to start from the beginning.
Yes.
Because most people are like, hurry up, get to the other part fast. So I thank you for giving me the time to
Yeah.
share. Because I think the beginning is the foundation to
Right.
who we all are. And I tell you, my story is very, very deep. I was just sharing this with Vanessa in the car yesterday. My mom, up until the day she gave birth, nobody knew she was pregnant. My mom was a big drug dealer. She was in the streets in New York. When she got pregnant with me, she didn't want to have me. Not because she didn't love me. She didn't even know me. But because she was in the streets making money.
Right.
And my dad was a whore. He cheated on her. He treated her crazy. And she was like, so I'm making money. I'm in the streets. So I'm going to stop making money and have a baby with this man who's not treating me right. So 5 months into my mom's pregnancy, she was headed to have an abortion with me.
Oh, wow.
And literally she went to the doctor. The doctor was like, okay, if you come tomorrow at 10 a.m., I would do the abortion. She was 5 months. He told her all the risks, the dangers, that this is a full-blown, baby. And long story short, my mom was like, okay, I will be there tomorrow at 10 o'clock. At 9:30, my dad came knocking on the door. They got into a big argument. My mom left the house about 10:30, caught a cab. My mom never learned how to drive. She got to the doctor's office, and he said, I told you 10 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
10:30, he said no. So that's actually why I'm here today. So fate stepped in the form of my dad.
Wow.
And that doctor must have knew something. And so I like to tell people I had to fight before I even got here. So my mom gave birth to me. For 7 days, I had no name. The 7th day, the nurse comes in and says, what are you going to name this child? You have to name this child. And she's like, because of my tumultuous relationship with her dad, she threw her hand up in the air and said, name her Stormy.
Wow.
So Stormy is my real name. Nicole means victory. Stormy Nicole Wellington is my name. I was born in New York. I moved here to Miami when I was like 5 years old. I have that traditional story from where I come from of, living in foster care. There's a lot of people that come from where I come from. When I say where I come from, as a black woman that experienced either abuse, abandonment, neglect, from a young age, literally I had to figure things out for myself. I've been in foster care.
Wow.
I'm that girl that slept from pillar to post. I'm at your house one day. Nobody ever asked me where my mom was, but I was at this person's house, that person's house. I figured it out. So I had a life where I had to figure things out for a long time. And then my mom finally came to get me because my mom was in the streets. She did a lot of jail time. And so while she was in jail, I had to figure things out. So from foster care to being homeless to sleeping on people's couches to my mom finally came to get me. And that's when we finally recreated our family environment.
How old are you at that point?
When my mom came to get me the first time, so many times, the first time I was 5. I went into foster care. The second time I was like 7. The third time I was like 12 and I was pregnant. So I had my first child at 15.
Wow.
It's interesting. I think back, and my son is 28 years old now. My mom wanted me to have an abortion with him too.
Oh, wow. So you got pregnant at 15 and had
I got pregnant at 15. She wanted me to have an abortion at 5 months.
Yeah.
See that generational curse? But I didn't. He's now 28 years old. So I had a very rough upbringing. I didn't graduate from high school, dropped out of school in the 10th grade.
Wow.
There were times I didn't know how I was going to eat. I was a stripper. I was in a strip club my first time I was 13.
Did you raise your son?
I raised my son.
Okay.
I raised my son. That's how I ended up becoming like a full-time stripper. So you have children, right?
Yeah.
Imagine your 13-year-old daughter in a strip club.
Right.
Not because she's trying to make money to go buy a purse.
Right. She's trying to take care of
She's
her.
trying to eat. So my first time in a strip club, I was 13.
Wow.
Illegal. I got a fake ID. So I always learned how to figure it out.
Yeah,
Gave birth
yeah.
to my son, had to raise him,
Right.
became a full-time stripper, ran into drug dealers, learned how to do credit card fraud, learned how to steal. I used to steal clothes and sell it for half price. So
Wow.
for me, when I go to Neiman Marcus now, I'm like, hey, when I go to Bell Harbor, I used to steal from Bell Harbor.
Wow.
I never told that story, by the way.
Wow.
I used to be a shoplifter from Versace. 10 years statute of limitations ran out. But I used to steal for money.
Wow.
To sell the stuff.
To sell it.
Because that's all I was around. I grew up around boosters and buzzer bags and scams and Section
Right.
8. And so my story growing up was the typical black girl story that comes from Miami, Carol City, New Orleans areas. That's my typical story of a black girl is what I just told you.
When did it turn? Because I mean, I've heard a little bit of your backstory, and I see you today, and I'm trying to connect the dots. And I feel like your hustle has obviously made you who you are. But honestly, like you're one of those people, like you meet, you have such a good heart. So when I hear your backstory, I'm like, wow, like you went through a ton, but you're a genuine person. When did it shift? When did it finally change? And when did you kind of, let's say, this lifestyle's not for me?
Yes. So I call it defining moments. You know, we all have our defining moments. I had several. I remember when I went to visit my brother in prison. We used to drive maybe an hour just to pick up this niece and an hour to pick up his daughter. And then we'll get in the car and we'll drive another 8 hours to go visit him. And then we'll wake up. And I remember being in that position as a little girl. I was 10 years old visiting my brother in prison. And then I had to visit my mom in prison. And I remember saying, I'm never going to be like them. I'm never going to be like them.
Yeah.
But I didn't know because I wasn't exposed to other ways. I literally had no idea that you didn't have to go to college. You didn't have to graduate. I didn't graduate from high school. I dropped out in the 10th grade.
Wow.
I didn't know that you didn't have to have a traditional education.
Right, to make money.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought you had to graduate. I thought you had to go to college. I thought you had to
Right.
have, you know what I mean? And so at about 12, I was like, I don't want this, but I still didn't know what that meant.
What to do.
And my real defining moment, I would have to say, came when I was 18 years old. I was dating this football player, and me and his aunt got really, really cool. And I don't know if you ever been in this position, but when you're dating someone and you get in with the family, whoever that one family member is, you want to hold on to them because they can invite you to the events, they can invite you to the barbecues, they'll tell you what's going on. So that was me and this aunt. And I never forget, she said, let's read Think and Grow Rich together. And let's debrief every night at 9 p.m. So I had to read it because I knew we was going to debrief at 9.
What
and
was it that you had to read?
Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, Think and Grow Rich. Okay.
And it was the one that was called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Napoleon Hill. So it was a Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich version for black people, basically. And so I remember I read the book every day because I had to be ready to debrief at 9.
Yeah.
So I read Think and Grow Rich at 18 from cover to cover.
Wow.
And honestly, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because I realized that, wait a minute, I have the power within me to become all these things, whatever that may be that I want to be. Non-traditional education, high school dropout, teenage mom, stripper, scammer. So what? You seen keys of cocaine at 5 years old. So what? You seen pounds of weed at 10. It doesn't matter. You can really think
get
and
out of
grow
it.
rich. At 18 years old is when I said, I'm going to figure it out.
What was the next move?
The next move at 18 was I still stayed in the strip club because again,
That was like your moment where you're like, this is not for me.
there was
And then
this
it's
a halo, like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
light, bright light came through me,
yeah.
and now
Did you see a future version of you?
That's what I was going to just say. I did.
Yeah.
So at 18, I saw this future version of me. So when I would go to work, I didn't think I was better than everybody else.
But you knew where you were going.
But I started to feel like, I realized that I was naked in the club now.
Do you know what I love about those moments?
Tell me.
Is those moments that you have when you see your true self.
Yes.
And you're like, what am I doing here? And like how you just said, it's not like I was trying to be better than people, but you saw a version of who you've always been. And so it's why you might have to do that for now. It's like, you know where you're going.
There you go.
Yeah.
I saw my future, my other self.
Yes.
So I'm in the club and I'm like when Eve and Adam ate the apple and they're like, we have on no clothes. I'm like, I have on no clothes.
Yeah.
I'm naked, but I didn't know what to do. So I stayed there, and then I met my daughter's father. And when I started to date him, he was in the streets too, but he taught me a lot about business. And I never told a story, but he told me a lot about business. He opened up a boutique. So I started selling clothes. A lot of people don't know this, but my early start in business, entrepreneurship, I ran a boutique, which was his store. And so I got pregnant with my daughter. And I had her at 19, and I knew that I had to figure it out because I was not going to have me being a stripper as the story that people tell my daughter about me. Because I don't want my daughter to be a stripper.
Right.
And that's when I put my foot down and said, I'm going to figure it out. So I burned the bridge. You know, Think and Go Rich, it talks about burning the bridge that allows you to go back. You got to burn. So I burned the bridge. I threw my shoes away, threw my costumes away.
You're like, I'm not going back.
And I'm not going back to the strip club. I'm going to be a baby mama, and I'm going to work my baby daddy's boutique business. And that's what I did. So at 18, got into the strip club, got pregnant with my daughter, got back into the strip club because it was never a full-time thing for me. It was always like a exit strategy, survival mechanism for me.
Right.
But when I had my daughter, I stopped stripping at 19.
It's probably hard too because there is good money in that, and it's kind of like easy and it's good money, and you're like, okay, but then you're like, wait, I can go get this job, but maybe it's going to pay less, and you're trying to provide for your kids, but then you got to this place where you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want my kids to see that.
But I couldn't get a job. Where I'm going to work? I have a 10th grade education. Who's going to hire me? So, and I didn't have really job history. I didn't have jobs.
Right.
So I really thought that there was no other way out.
So did he fund that first boutique, and you just kind of started doing
so it was his boutique. It was his store. It was called Hot Spot Clothing in Opelika. Opelika, I don't know if you know the Opelika. It's not too far from here. No, it's far from here. It's in the hood. Excuse me. No, it's very far from here. But yes, it was his store.
Okay.
I just ran it for him. So he put up the money. It was an urban store. So this was back when people wore Rocawear and FUBU. So I had to do the reorders. I had to keep up with the inventory. That's when I learned buying for wholesale, selling for retail. The margins was crazy to me. You buy something for $10, sell it for $30. I like those margins. So that's when I really learned the profit margins. But it was just me running his store. It wasn't mine. He gave me allowance to run his store.
Right.
So I learned everything. It was the best school ever.
I was going to say, it's more like that was like a learning experience.
OJT.
I feel like there's always pivots in our life. You're like, why am I here? And then later in life, you're like, oh, that is why I experienced that.
Exactly.
So where did you go from there? What was your first like entrepreneurial, like where it was just all you?
Okay, so everybody was telling me you need to get a good job. I'm like, that's true. And so I used to be a TSA agent.
Oh, okay.
I used to wear those blue, ugly uniforms with the little cop badge, the little, I worked for Miami Airport, the busiest checkpoint ever. I made $13.25 an hour. I had good benefits.
Yeah.
And I was happy for about 6 months.
It was safe.
It was safe.
Yeah.
It was every 2 weeks. I worked like the midday shift. I had to get to work, I think about 12. I left about 8. I was like, I get to sleep and I still can have fun. So I thought I was living a life.
Right.
And then to be honest with you, beautiful women like you would come through the airport and you look stylish like you look, and they would throw their bags on the conveyor belt, and I would be like, who she thinks she is? But I was inspired by those women. And everybody that I would talk to that would throw the bag on the conveyor belt and make me feel like a peasant. They was in distribution, investors, real estate. They owned their own business. They wasn't working for a company.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to get out of here.
Did you feel triggered because you maybe felt like there was a piece of you that was selling out?
Yeah. First of all, women like you, when you come through looking cute, and then you have your Louis Vuitton, your Chanel luggage, and your Birkin bag, and your little dog, I'm like, I could do that, but how?
Yeah.
So I was jealous a little bit, but inspired at the same time. It was like a duality of both worlds.
I get it.
But I started to figure out, instead of hating and being mad, say, be nice, be the nicest TSA agent to that woman, and get her to want to talk to you. And so I started to talk. I would be like the networking, you know, TSA agent. And I ended up going to Atlanta one day. I had never seen successful black people to the degree of what I saw in Atlanta. Here in Miami, no disrespect for anybody who watches this in Miami, but there's a lot of hustling in Miami.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol, fraud, scheming, scamming, taxes, hustling.
Yeah.
When I went to Atlanta and I saw black people smiling and waving at you, hi, and driving around in Bentleys and Cadillac trucks with drivers, I was like, what do you do? Real estate. What do you do? Real estate. What do you do? Investor. What do you do? Own my company. What do you do? Engineer. Hi, nice. I was like, okay, I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so nobody was in network marketing. I didn't meet successful network marketers, but I saw black people successful.
Right.
And it made me say, I could be successful. Now I just got to figure out how. So versus me being closed-minded to opportunities, I wasn't. I was like, is that it?
Wait a minute.
Is that it? Like my reticular activating system opened and I'm like, entrepreneur, I want to be one of those.
Yeah.
But when I first got to Atlanta, I worked at Nordstrom's. I used to work at Nordstrom's. So I know what the sales reps go through. That's why I take, like my sales rep with Neiman Marcus, he been with me for like 8 years because I know what life is like as a sales rep.
Right.
So I did the sales rep thing and I got the chargeback things. I was a bartender.
Wow. I
used to be a bartender. I remember I went to work one day and I made 75 cents. I said, I can't do this.
Your life experience is better than like any college.
Oh yeah, defining
You've
moments.
got like multiple degrees.
Oh, lots of defining moments. I'm not gonna give up and get comfortable. There's a life that I see for myself, and it constantly evolves. Like my life has already evolved coming in your house.
Isn't it crazy though? Like I love how you just talked about how you're like, you know, I didn't think it was possible for me until you saw it. And it's like so many times people think like, oh, my culture, my community, and it's so hard to get out of that. And also too, when you get out, and I want you to talk on this, is like when you leave that box, people are like, who does she think she is? Did you have any of that when you were transitioning to like, I want more?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even now to this day, people think that I think I'm better than them, but I don't think that. I think we could do better.
Yeah.
I never think I'm better than you. Look at you and look at me. No. If you get close to me and I know you or we have, you know, a relationship, we can do better. I've always been that girl that looks at us like, what else are we going to do? Where else are we going to go? Who else can we meet that can inspire us today?
Right.
You know, inspiration is the highest human act.
Right.
Like I just walked through this house and I'm only on one level and I'm like, I'm inspired. You take me upstairs, you show me the view. Now I'm like, okay, I need to look at a house over here to see if I want to make enough money or see if I have enough money to afford this now. And if I can't afford it now, what do I got to do to afford it later?
I think that's such an important mindset to have. I remember actually the first time I briefly met you, I think it was like 2-3 years ago. It was at one of the Cardone's events. I remember I sitting down and I'm thinking I'm awesome because I have my hairline and Garrett and I like lost everything and I built this up and we're sitting in the back of the room and people are starting to talk about what they make. And I looked at Garrett and I was like, I'm the brokest bitch in the back of the room.
Wow.
But it's like humbling. I wasn't like, oh, I was just like, oh, we need to keep going.
Exactly.
You know, and so I think that's your very growth mindset and to where it's like you can appreciate the success that you have, but you know this journey is always, there's always more, you know? And I think when you experience that, for me, it's not necessarily just about the success or the money. It's also about who you're going to impact. It's, you know, and I find you that the type of person that you have impacted so many. And so I feel like that might push you to become the next version of yourself. So you're in retail, you're in Nordstrom's, and where do you go from there? When's that next pivot where God's like, hey, hey Stormy, I showed you who you are. You're in retail. Let's go.
You know what? It's interesting. I'm in retail. I'm doing well, relatively well. I'm making more than I ever made before, and then I'm getting all these chargebacks, and so it's like, okay, right when I thought I was doing what I needed to do, here comes a negative check, because you can have a negative check in retail, especially if you get paid, commission. So I'm getting these negative checks, and I have a saying. I say, rich people network, while broke people, they just look for work. And so I realized being in Atlanta, you can meet anybody. Nobody lives in Atlanta that's really from Atlanta. So I started networking, and everybody was in real estate. And of course, I don't like school. I just don't like that type of learning environment. So I didn't necessarily go get my real estate license, but I became friends with this realtor. His name was Thomas Adequate. He was an African man, and he sold a lot of houses, Danielle. And this was during the season where everybody wanted to move to Atlanta. And this was back, I don't know if you know about these days, but this was back when you could get a house with a 500 credit score. Anybody could buy a house with no doc loans.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember that there was a big real estate boom? I think
Yes.
it crashed in 2008. So
Yeah.
I'm selling houses,
Yeah, it's
and
easy.
it was nothing. As long as
Yeah.
you have a post, you could get a
Yeah,
house. You know, banks was financing. So I'm doing deals, not a realtor, but I'm like kind of like brokering these deals. I'm the middleman. And he would give me a commission. So I got up to like $20,000 a month.
You're like,
I'm
it's way better than Nordstrom's.
what? I don't have no chargebacks.
Yeah.
I'm free. I bought 3 houses myself. This is crazy. All I got to do is go out, meet people, say, you want a house? Hey, everybody want to move to Atlanta. So I literally was helping all my friends get houses in Atlanta.
Wow.
Long story short, the market crashed.
Right.
And I was stuck with 3 houses and no way to make money, no way to pay my bills. My mom had just came home from prison.
Wow.
My mom went to prison at 57 years old.
Wow.
She walked in the prison doors as a normal woman with a big smile. The prison took so much of a toll on her. She rolled out in a wheelchair with 17 teeth.
Wow.
So my mom came home. I'm fat, broke. I lost the real estate money because it was like up for like a good 6 months.
Yeah.
Crashed. So I started to do collections. I got a job at a company called RMS in Marietta, Georgia. I was a collections agent. I was the one that'd call you and say, hey, Danielle, I'm calling RMS. Your Sprint bill is 10 months behind, and we're going to put it in on your credit. So I actually got hired for that job, had no experience. I sold myself to the boss. I said, listen, if you hire me, I remember he was about to end my interview. And I said, sir, I just got to tell you this. If you hire me, I promise you, it will be the best decision you make. I would collect so much money. I know I never did this before.
Yeah.
But I could do anything I put my mind to.
Yeah.
He hired me, and I came to work the next day. He trusted me. He betted on me. I never forget. I sat at my desk first day. They gave me a stack of papers like this and showed me this is the name, this is how you skip trace and all of this stuff. I collected $1 million from that list.
Oh, wow.
But hold on, it gets better. I found out that list was a list they were about to shred that list.
Oh, wow.
So they wanted to listen to me with that list. But I turned that dead list into $1 million.
Wow.
So they called me, the boss came down, the big boss man came down, he offered me a raise. At this time, I'm driving a Volkswagen Passat, my sunroof is flying off, it rains outside, it rains on me, I'm eating lean cuisines, I'm broke, I'm struggling. My water had just got turned off back home. I learned how to turn the water back on with the pliers. There's a special plier you get from Home Depot. I don't know if it's still like that, but you turn that thing back on. So my water was off, car broke down, lights only on because I made payment arrangements, right? And they told me they're going to give me a raise, so I'm fired up. I'm $13 an hour. They're going to give me $5. I'll make $18 an hour. I'm balling.
Right.
That raise was 25 cents.
Oh, no.
But guess what? That was the best. If they would have gave me $5, I would still be in collections right now.
Wow.
Because I thought that's a lot of money. You make $13. Nobody in my family ever made $18 an hour.
Right.
But that 25 cents, I remember that day, tears running down my face. I told the boss, this is when I knew I had a little bit of different kind of balls, right? I told the boss, don't even put the 25 cents on my check. I don't want it. I cried, and I was scared of my boss. And I went back to my cubicle, and I began to pray. I just began to pray, God, send me something. Send me something. Send me something. And he sent me Obama shirts. Remember Obama when he first got in office? Everybody used to wear these rhinestone Obama T-shirts. I don't know if you know about those. So when Obama became president, the black community went crazy.
Right.
So imagine he's the first black president ever. And I got access to Obama in rhinestones in red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
I paid $10 for them. I triggered that retail brain. I sold them $10 shirts for $35.
Oh, wow. So they brought you on, you got this idea?
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
I got the idea. Remember, I had already did retail.
Yeah.
So I remembered I bought them for $10. I could sell them for $30.
Yeah.
I sold them for $35.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I was balling.
Yeah.
I was selling 100 shirts a week.
How were you selling them? Like, because social media wasn't a thing. Just
nobody had them.
Okay.
Everybody loved Obama.
Yeah.
I would sell them anywhere. The beauty salon, the barbershop. I would
Just
walk
like
up
door
to
to
people.
door?
Oh, I was a hustler.
Wow.
I would walk up to you. I wear it every day.
Yeah.
You know, I take the money, reinvest, buy some more T-shirts.
Yeah.
You know, you'll tell your sister you had it on. Everybody.
Yeah.
Then I would give you a referral. If you send me a client, I'll give you a $10 tip off the sale.
Wow.
how long was that going to last?
Right.
It's a T-shirt that lasted good quality. That was the problem. The quality was a little bit too good. And Obama, after a while, we was sick of those shirts.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was balling for like, maybe 6 months.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I started to develop this thing where, why does everything come to me when it's about to fail? Right? When the real estate market was getting good, it crashes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? When I get this job, I thought I had a good job. It gave me a 25-cent raise. Right when I'm selling Obama. So I really started to think nothing that I do works. And so, but I kept praying.
Yeah.
And I believe that I attracted the industry of network marketing. I thought I would never do network marketing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a scam. I thought it was, and I was broke, but I thought it was for broke people. So long story about that. But I thought it was just a scam. I thought it was a pyramid. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing no network marketing. So all the people at the top make all the money off of me.
Right.
And so my real transformation came when I got into network marketing. Network marketing saved my life. It changed my life. And the woman I am today, I attribute, outside of God, I attribute who I am today because of the profession of network marketing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because network marketing kind of has like a stigma to it, right? You're like,
It
I'm not
does.
that person. I don't do, because you feel like you're scamming people.
Right.
Right. But if it's like a product that you actually believe in,
That's
and
right.
you're good at sales, you've gone through.
I don't even think I'm good at sales.
You are, though, because you've got, like, I listening to your story, I'm like, oh, like, you're such a hustler. You want to know why you're good at sales? Because you don't even know you're good at sales.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was good at sales.
Is like people that are trying to sell, they're trying to solve a problem. That's what I always say. And so it comes across like genuine. You're like, I know I can do this. I can solve this problem with this product. And
That's
people
right.
trust and believe that.
That's right.
What was the first network opportunity that came to your door?
Look, the first one, oh my God, so this is an amazing story. The first one came to me when I was like 17. I was in the mall and the lady walked up to me and she goes, oh my God, you're so amazing. You should be a model. And that was like the best day of my life. To be told you're beautiful by another beautiful woman is like a great feeling. And she's like, you should come model for me tonight. It's going to be an amazing crowd. And I would love for you to be a model for me tonight. I'm 17 years old. I remember telling everybody, oh my God, this woman walked up to me. I'm about to be this model at her event tonight. Ciao, Danielle. I went to her event. It was a Mary Kay meeting.
Oh, no.
And it was a home party. And I was the model.
She was recruiting you.
I was the model to put makeup on.
Oh, wow.
So I was a model. She didn't lie,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she just didn't tell me what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I signed up at 17. I found a way to
wow.
sign up. I bought a $600 package. And when it came to my house again, I looked at this stuff and I was like, I could buy this from Walgreens.
Yeah,
I could-
yeah.
Whatever. Was it Eckert's back then or
Yeah.
something? I don't know. And I felt scammed. So I'm the
Yeah.
one who helped to put that energy out to the world that
Yeah.
network marketing was a scam. Because
Yeah,
I told
yeah.
everybody
She
I
didn't
got
know you-
scammed at Mary
You
Kay.
didn't know you were even getting into, yeah.
So my first network
That's why
marketing
you had a
company
negative.
was
Yeah.
Mary Kay. But the network marketing company that I made my first $1 million in my first year was a company called Artists International.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me tell you what we sold. You probably know about this. Do you remember about 16 years ago, everybody was crazy about wearing waist trainers and garments. So I helped to springboard that whole garment world. So I used to sell this garment and the slogan was lose 5 pounds. No, drop 3. Do you or anybody you know want to drop 3 dress sizes in 3 minutes without diets, exercise, surgery, or
Oh,
pills?
no.
Imagine I walk
Yeah,
up
yeah.
to you, not you, but I walk up to a woman who's
Yeah.
not happy with her body.
Yeah.
Hey, you are
It's
beautiful.
a quick fix.
Do you or anybody you know want to drop 3 dress sizes in 3 minutes without diet, exercise, surgery, or pills?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
What you think you're gonna say? Yeah, right. How?
Yeah.
So I used to pull you in. I would keep a purse. I would pull you in the bathroom. I didn't care where we were.
Oh, no.
I would put you on
You're
the
like,
floor.
put this on.
Oh, listen. I would tuck you. I would nip you, and by the time you finished, like your outfit was too big.
It's because you've been in retail. You're like, I'm comfortable with this.
Oh,
So
listen.
shimmy in.
We'll be in the bathroom in the mall. I didn't care. I would
Yeah.
put you on the floor.
Yeah.
And women, I learned in that opportunity how desperate women are for a transformation. They would let me put them on the floor in the parking lot.
Yeah, yeah.
3 minutes, 3 dress
Wow.
sizes. Yeah, right. Show me.
Wow.
So I had an array of sample garments, sample sizes, and that product that I sold back then, I think we used to make like a $75 profit. So my goal back then was to make $150 a day.
Okay.
That was 2 sales.
Wow.
And so I would leave my house every day at 8 o'clock, not come home until I made $150 a day. And
Wow.
that was 16 years ago with the garment called Body Magic. And again, here come this cycle. I made $1.4 million in my first year.
Wow.
I went from broke, struggling. I wrote a bad check when I first got started. Everybody used to run from me like I was the kid with the disease because here she goes, the network marketing girl trying to sign us up.
Yeah.
Here she go, her products, run.
Yeah.
But I made $1.4 million. But here was the problem. That company did not have consumable products. And that's when I started to learn. Again, look at the correlation.
Because it's a one-time buy.
Here we go.
Yeah.
The Obama shirts, good quality now. Only going to buy one. Here we go. Goddamn.
Gotta
6
get 'em on
months I'm
that
broke
subscription.
again. Boom.
Yeah.
Here we go with the garments. It's so good, so durable.
Yeah.
I know people right now that still got their garment from 16 years ago. So why buy another one?
Yeah.
So
Too
there was
good.
no
Yeah.
real residual, no
Right.
real continuity there.
You're always having the hustle
no
game.
repay, no
Yeah.
rebuy, no reorder because I could sell you one garment, it lasts you for 16 years.
Yeah.
So I'm rich. I'm driving around in Bentleys. I'm on billboards, buses. I made $90,000 last month. Ask me how, and then it went away. It dried up
It's not sustainable.
because there was no consumable.
Yeah.
So I was happy that I made $1.4 million. That I helped many of my friends become millionaires. But what really blessed me the most is the mentorship, the proximity to powerful, successful women, the knowledge, the wisdom, the coaching,
Wow.
the people skills that I learned. I learned the foundation of who I am now, 16 years later, from that experience. So I understand.
It prepared you.
I love consumables. Something. Because I need you to hurry up, eat it, drink it, use it, buy some more.
Yeah.
That's the real residual.
Yeah.
Something that you need to consume and reorder.
Yes.
So got into that company, made millions of dollars. My mom dies August 26, 2011. I'm holding her hand. I didn't know she was dying and
Wow.
lost my mom. And when I lost my mom, I lost myself. I didn't know I used to think that black people couldn't get depressed. I thought that was like something for other people. Never knew how real depression was.
Wow.
I fell into the worst depression ever. I didn't want to live. I used to pray to God, don't wake me up tomorrow after losing my mom. Had no idea that as I lost her, I lost myself. So
Wow.
I lost friends. I became a part of the NFL. No friends, no family left. When you got money, you attract, you got all the friends in the world when the money is there. But when the money funny, you become the laughing stock of your community, right? So I ended up getting out of network marketing, and this was only 2011. So I make all this money. I end up getting out of network marketing because I lost my self-worth.
Yeah.
I lost my confidence. I lost who I was.
Wow.
And then God said, network marketing is your thing. You know how to do it. And so it came back around.
How did it? So was the next company TLC? No.
Nope. The next company, this is when I knew that I needed mentorship, real hardcore mentorship, not just the excitement mentorship, but I needed someone to give me real skill set. So I don't know if you know Holton Bugs. So I was able to attract that relationship. At the time, he was the first to ever have made $1 million in 1 month in network marketing that I knew of as a black man, And so he had a coffee. He was a VP of sales for a coffee company. And you remember, now I'm thinking consumables.
Right.
I don't want no more clothes. I don't want no more garments. I want something that you could buy again.
Right.
And so I got into this company 13 years ago. It's called Organo Gold. So we sold coffee. All of our products was coffee, Ganoderma, Garcinia, Cambodia. Like that's when I started to learn about these herbs, the reishi mushrooms, and the way people are addicted to coffee. Coffee, the second consumable beverage underwater. And I learned almost everything that I needed to learn in that company.
Wow.
Things were great, but then I got pregnant.
Oh, okay.
I got pregnant.
So your
and I
third
got
baby?
married. My second baby now.
second
no,
baby.
no, sorry. Third baby.
Third baby,
Third
yeah,
baby.
okay.
Yeah, third baby. Yes. I got married in a depression. So I married someone and I didn't even know me. So that person didn't even know me.
Right.
So I got married in a depression. Wanted to do it right. Went through the whole celibacy thing. No sex until we get married. All of that.
Wow.
Like OG don't even know this story. No sex until we get married. And I met this prophet who prophesied to me new names and all of this.
Wow.
And told me if you don't marry him before this year's up, you're gonna die.
Oh, wow.
Prophesied that to me.
Did
December,
you believe that?
I'm about to tell you.
Wow.
December of 2013, prophesied that to me. Guess what date I got married? December 31st of 2013.
Oh, wow.
That wasn't my king. I knew that wasn't my husband. The day I married him, I knew I made a mistake. But I followed the man of God that I thought was the man of God.
Right.
So I got married had my son and things went all the way downhill, Danielle. I never forget one of my friends had called me and was telling me about postpartum depression. That's why you got to be careful who you talk to.
Yeah.
Never heard of postpartum depression. She had her son and she went through postpartum depression. She's explaining it to me and she's like, you better be careful, girl, and telling me about it. And I think, I'm not blaming her, but I think that thought developed a seed.
Wow.
I never had postpartum depression with any of my kids. When I had my son, DJ, he's now 11, I had postpartum depression. I caught it from her, I think.
Well, you know what though? My first two I didn't at all. My third one I didn't. My fourth one I did.
You did.
And it was wild. Like I did not feel like myself. Like I was like I couldn't get out of bed. Like and I was like, oh, I thought postpartum was fake. I literally was like, whatever. Like it's, and with her, I for some reason I was like, this is so weird.
Wow.
So,
how long did you have it for?
Probably like at least 3 or 4 months. And then once my hormones started regulating and I wasn't breastfeeding and that kind of thing, I finally felt like I like snapped out of it. But it was like really bad for a couple months and like nobody knew. And I just was like, I'll snap out of it. So I didn't want to talk about it.
Yes.
But it is real. And it's a lot harder than I think women, they want to like kind of brush it off. But it is. You don't feel like you. And
did you do anything?
No, I honestly was like, I felt like I was just really sad. And then all of a sudden I felt like I started to turn the corner. So I knew I was like it was just like my hormones regulating. But even Garrett was like, are you okay? And I never did anything about it. And I wish I would have talked to somebody about it. You know what I mean? Like I knew it wasn't forever, but I wish I would have just talked to somebody. And so like when you share it, I'm like, I wish more women talked about it because it is real and it's scary. Oh my
God, it is. So I had postpartum depression for about 6 months.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, about 6 months. And I delivered myself from it, though. I did stuff to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did stuff. So I got rid of the postpartum depression, and I woke up that warrior woman, you know, and I was like, no, hell no. Stormy, this is who you are.
Yeah.
Like I had a fuck it party.
Yeah.
I call it fuck it, PHUCK. And if you look up the word fuck it, you look up the word create in the Urban Dictionary. When you take the word create and you spell it with a K, it means to forge your own history or origin for your own good. And so I read this book called The Magic of Thinking Big. I don't know if you ever heard of that book, by John Claude Bristol. And it talked about the mirror technique.
Yeah.
I mean, I read the book of Proverbs. I started to just pray, speak affirmations, all of that. But none of that really, it just didn't work. But what I read in The Magic of Thinking Big, the mirror technique. And I remember I went in the mirror and I had a fucking party. People hate, you can create. People had got in my head so bad that this fucking party that I gave myself, I went in the mirror and I cursed myself out.
Yeah, you almost weren't listening to like you.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Listen, I was trying to be everybody else, what everybody wanted me to be. So when I said fuck it, like PHUCK, people hate, you can create. Stormy, go in that mirror and create your stuff again. I cursed myself out in the mirror. I called me every type of
You woke yourself up.
Listen, I used to drink strawberries. Do you know what strawberry is?
Strawberry Ritas? No.
So it's a very cheap, it's made by Budweiser. It's cheap, but it tastes so good, but it's a beer.
Okay.
Come on. Like Stormy Wellington does not drink beer.
Yeah.
I drink
Like,
some Sauvignon Blanc or lemon drop, but beer, that's how bad it was.
Oh, wow.
I'm drinking beers every day. I'm fat. I'm broke. My house was dark. It was depressing.
Wow.
But when I had that fucking party, Danielle, I went to the mirror and I looked in my soul. I never forget. I looked so, because it tells you how to do it in the book. I looked through the mirror like I was looking through my soul.
Yeah.
And tears just started running through my face, running down my cheeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Do you know who you are? You're Stormy Nicole fucking Wellington. Get back to work, bitch. Are you dumb? Look at your house.
Yeah. You
What are you doing in this situation? You don't have no fucking postpartum depression. You a millionaire. And it's like I felt this energy leave my body. And I started opening up the blinds. I started throwing stuff away. I was home by myself. I started throwing stuff away. I went to my car. I had McDonald's French fries in the arm rest. And like I just, it's like the scales was removed from my eyes and I saw myself for who I really was. It's like I became my other self in that moment, my defining moment again.
Yeah.
And I end up moving to Miami. I was in Atlanta. I moved to Miami and I redefined and redesigned my whole life. And again, instead of me taking a year to make $1 million again, this time it took me 7 months.
Wow.
So I got into TLC this time in Miami with
Okay.
a renewed mind and with a spirit of redemption when I got into TLC.
Yeah. That's so crazy. I do believe that we have the power to like get ourselves out of a situation, right? And it's like you sit in this place of pain for so long that like you snap. Like you have these snapping moments. And like for me, it's always been like these moments where I feel like I'm like, poor me, poor me, poor me, where God comes in and he's like, do you remember who you are?
Exactly.
And then when you do, you go back to work.
Exactly.
You know, and you do what you're supposed to do on this world.
Exactly.
So you move here, you start TLC. Then how did you find TLC?
So a good friend of mine, someone that I respect, his name is Kenny Lloyd. He's 66 years old right now, and his wife is 54. So it's crazy when I think about them. So they just retired and came back to work again in TLC. But long story short, they came to my home. His wife came to my house to kind of relieve me because they wanted to help me with the postpartum depression. They knew what I was going through. And they came to my house and they bought these products and they threw them on my counter and said, we're about to get rich with these products. And it was the NutriBurst, the T, and the NRG. They never told me what it did. This is like literally the day they signed up. Like the day, like I could see it right now. The day they joined. So they were still fat. They still was broke. They didn't look like money. They didn't have nothing to really show me. And I was in postpartum depression.
Oh, wow.
So when they're trying to share with me about this business, this opportunity, I'm like, if you don't get out of here with that stuff, you look stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not selling no tea.
Yeah,
What I look like selling some tea. Mind you, I needed it because I was 50 pounds overweight.
Wow.
I weigh 145 pounds now. Imagine me, I was 205 with my son.
Wow.
So I was, 60 pounds heavier, 65 pounds heavier. That's a thick girl. So when they told me about the product, I'm like, I'm not interested. But 2 years had passed by. I was scrolling on Facebook one day.
Oh, wow. 2 years
Actually, I
later.
wasn't in TLC yet. This is right before I moved to Miami. I'm scrolling on Facebook one day, and I see him and his wife, and you could see money. I could see their transformation. I could see that she lost weight. He lost weight. They look like money. Like when I look at you and your husband, like y'all look like transformation and money. So when I saw the transformation, I was like, oh shit, that TLC stuff must have worked.
Yeah.
And again, the law of attraction, 3 days after I saw that post, I got a phone call from not them, but somebody else.
Okay.
That they told to call me.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I just found out a couple
wow.
years ago. They're like, you got to call Stormy. She needs this. We can see it. She needs this.
Yeah.
And she's not going to come to us because she got a lot of pride.
Yeah.
So go to her. So they sent this gentleman named Johnny Green to call me.
Wow.
Called me 3 days later. They sent me a new box of samples. Till this day, I still don't know who sent me the box.
Wow.
I started to drink the tea. Didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I ended up losing like a pound my first day.
Wow.
I lost 27 pounds my first month just from drinking the tea.
Wow.
I started giving it away. I gave 4 packs away. Every woman that I gave it to called me back and wanted to buy more.
You found your product.
And I wasn't signed up yet.
Oh, wow.
But you gotta remember, all along in the back of my mind, like what your husband just said,
Yeah.
I was looking for a consumable.
Yeah.
My spirit was looking for a consumable.
Right.
Didn't know it was gonna be tea, NutriBurst,
Yeah.
NRG.
Right.
So I started to transform women that was around me, and they wasn't even in the business. And I wasn't even in the business. So when I ran out of products, and they're calling me to buy more,
You're like, I should probably sign up.
I joined this business, Danielle, 10 years ago to sell 1 pack of tea to 4 of my friends. I would have made $100. I said, if I get in easily, it cost me, $100 to get in.
Right.
I sell on 1 pack, make $100. If I sell each of them 2 packs,
You're
that's
doing
going to
the
be
math.
$200.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could take $100, make $200.
Yeah.
That means I made $100 profit. Worst case scenario, I got 4 customers, I made a little money. When I got in, and I started talking about it, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
I made $50,000 my first week.
Wow.
I made $135,000 my first 2 months retailing the products. I made $1 million my first 7 months.
Wow.
I made $2.1 million my first year.
Wow.
And for the first 7 months, all I sold was the tea. And I would not promote the name of the tea. So I'm big on creating disruption. So when I joined TLC, nobody knew the name of the tea was ISO tea because I would promote the tea with the name to the back. So
Okay.
you'll see my body, you'll see all of these results, but you didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
So I would say like, hey,
Yeah.
you like what you see? They couldn't Google.
But you know what? That's so smart because people, like, if you were like, oh, it's Emma, I'm like, I'm almost turned off by a product if people
Exactly.
tell me that. But if you're like, I have this tea, look what it's doing. I'm like, oh, I want some of that tea. I have to keep ordering. That's fine. So you were smart to like present. Did you just think to do it that way? You're like, yeah.
And, and the thing what I did that was so genius, the tea is called ISO tea. But I would turn the pack to the back and I would call it skin tea. So I knew that you were going to think two things.
Yeah.
If you're already skinny, you're going to think skin.
Yeah.
Or if you were fat, you're going to think skinny.
Yeah.
And that's why I sold so much.
Yeah.
And you couldn't find where to get it. So I became like the exclusive sales rep for the tea.
Right.
And I signed up 200 people my first week.
Wow.
They didn't know where to find the tea.
Right.
Nobody knew where to find it. If I would have turned the pack around.
You made it look elite.
I made it look elite,
Yeah.
but I also made it look, you couldn't find it.
Yeah.
You could see the pack, but where do I get it from? She did not disclose the name.
Right.
So you
So
had,
they had
no
to get it from
choice
you.
to get it from me. And that's how I build an army. So
Yeah.
right now I have teams all over the world. I've been in this company for a decade.
Yeah.
And it started with me just wanting to sell some tea to a couple of my friends.
Yeah,
And I lost 27 pounds in my first month.
What have you made total with that company?
51 million.
Wow, that's incredible.
51 million. In 10 years, 51 million.
Isn't that crazy?
Let me tell you, what's so crazy is that I have an office in the same location with you and your husband. I pay $22,000 a month for rent. Don't go there. Don't make money from it, really. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
It's just my headquarters.
Right.
It costs me $200 to run my business now. That makes me, 51 million. I make $300,000-400,000 a month.
Wow.
It costs me $200 to run this business.
Right.
$22,000 to pay office rent, and I'm never there.
Right.
So I think that people have to think differently nowadays. You got
Yeah.
to think outside the box. You don't have to have a brick and mortar.
Right.
You can start a business with a cell phone and a Wi-Fi.
What's so crazy too, because you that's where you found your success. Now you have possibilities to create. It can just go wide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what's crazy. And a lot of times I think people, they hit trial and error in life and they want to stop. What's cool about your story is like, it doesn't matter. Like you keep pushing through every single level. And now you're at this place of abundance. And now you're at a place where it's really fun to create in abundance. And it's crazy that you just kept going. Like you're like, no, you can't. Like, I know who I am. And I think that when you feel that calling, when you're in, a crappy space in life, you have to remind yourself like that person you saw.
I just spoke today at an event with entrepreneurs, and I talked about the story that you tell yourself. And one of the things I talked about is that you have to reinvent, you have to reflect, and you have to rewrite often.
Right.
Often. Like 2 weeks ago, I made myself somebody new. Like I'm not the same person I was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was a decision and a new story that I've been telling myself. And so like it's a beautiful place to have success at something, create from that, but it's even way better when you are driven by the goal, the mission, and not the money. For the first time, it's like I was telling Vanessa, my operation director in the car, like I do this event called The Awakening. It's happening at the end of this month. I have like 75 women. They fly from all over the world. I have like 2 men. They pay between $5,000 and $8,000 for the weekend. And it's all about spending time getting to know yourself. Like I've curated the environment for them to leave as a new being.
Yeah.
And I went to the room the other day and discovered that we have like room for 20 more people. And I'm like, no matter how many wealthy or rich or successful people I help, I want to help the person I used to be.
Yeah.
And I was telling them, let's create a ticket price for $1,000 for $750. I know people pay $5,000, $8,000, but if I really want to help the person I used to be, the person I used to be wouldn't have paid to come to the awakening.
Right.
Because I didn't think that I could wake up.
Right.
I didn't even know that there was a such thing. But if we could bring you in a room and you pay $750, you at least cover your food. Not your food. You cover just your seat in the room.
Right.
You're not for free. Then I feel powerful and I feel like I'm contributing and I'm really living up to my mission because I'm not motivated by the money. If I keep thinking of how much everything costs, how much profit I'm gonna make. I told her this the other day. If I put $1 out and I make $1.75, I'm not mad. If I put $1 out and I make $1.50, I'm not mad. If I put $1 out and I make 75 cents, I'm pissed the hell off because I lost a quarter.
Yeah.
If I put $1 out and it come back, it doesn't have to come back double.
Right.
It could come back in the form of, wow, thank you.
Right.
You know what, Stormy, I didn't pay full price. Yeah, you only made 10 cents off of me. Yeah, you only made nothing, but guess who I am now? And later on, they may come back and invest in something else.
Yeah.
But the contribution is not always, me giving to receive back because the blessings may come from somewhere else.
Right, exactly. What's crazy is like where you started though, I have a feeling that you're still at like such a new beginning. Like TLC and you're doing great and it's amazing and you're so successful with it. But when I hear you speak, I'm like, you're at a new beginning. Like you're going to be massive in the coaching industry. Like I can already kind of like see it for you.
You know what? Thank you. You kind of read in my mind because this morning as I was, talking to Dan, I just left Dan Fleshman. I just left from being teaching in his class. I said, I think God gave me TOC to make sure I don't have to worry about money.
Exactly.
Because if I had to do this and be worried about
Exactly.
the bills, like my bill's been on auto pay for the last 7 years. I don't know what my light bill is. Like I have these little sample packs, and I sold some of them outside for $75. And so a lady sends me the $75, and I text her back, thanks, I pay my light bill. Being funny.
Yeah.
And she goes, Stormy, your light bill is not $75, but it made me feel good to say that to her.
Yeah.
Because why are you selling this thing for $75?
Yeah.
You don't need the $75. It's not about the need. It's about the process and the consistency and never
Right.
forgetting the foundation. So for me, where I am now, I believe that TLC will always be a part of my life. I love the products.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm on them.
Thank you. Yeah. What's your favorite product?
I love the
NutriBurst.
The NutriBurst, and I like Bailey calls it poop juice, and I don't know what it's called.
I like poop juice. Which one is it? The poop flavor you like? The red one?
I
the
like
green
the
one?
lemonade one.
That's Vanessa's favorite.
Yeah.
The lemon do you see what comes out of your body with
Yeah,
that lemon?
I do it every other day.
Yeah, you
but
got to be careful, but it gets you right.
yes, I like the coffee too, but I don't drink a ton of coffee, so I do like half the packet. But those
Oh,
are the 3
good.
that I'm doing right now.
I love it.
And I like them.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
But imagine me trying to be me and I got to worry about, is the light bill
Yeah.
going to get paid? So I
Yeah.
feel like it's my gift. God
Yes.
allowed me to get this money. I could drive how I want,
Right.
live how I want, afford.
Right.
To say, no, I'm not coming to your podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Danielle.
And you know what though, you can.
No, let me
help.
finish. I want to finish that because I don't want nobody to edit that
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I'm here because I want to be here.
Yeah.
I'm here because when I saw you and your husband, I said, those are going to be my friends. So I already visualized me pulling up here
Your
with my
yacht.
yacht to
We're gonna
pick
go
y'all. Like,
dinner.
I already see it. I
Yeah.
promise you, I see it. We're going to
Yeah.
pick y'all up. We're going to cook on the yacht.
Right.
We're going to have on our bathing suits. We're going to take
be
our
hanging out.
pictures. Like, I already see it.
Yeah.
Like, I manifested being here
Yeah,
with
yeah.
you right now today. So thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Because I get to be here with you because of the work I did to earn the right to even be seen by you.
Well, thank you.
And when one queen sees another queen, that's empowering. So you've
Yeah.
empowered me by inviting me in your home. I want to tell you that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you.
Thank
Well, I feel like we could keep going and going.
Yes, we
and going,
can.
But we're actually going to bring your guy on the show, and we're going to do a different show called The Date Your Wife, and we'll hear a little bit more of the story and let it unfold. But I'm sure this relationship will keep going. I had talked to Bailey, my daughter. I'm like, I feel like I know Stormy, So I'm similar to you, where like I see things and I'm like, I'm like, okay, I got to go after that. That's to me, that's what manifesting is. You see something and then you work towards achieving whatever it
Yes,
is. So
absolutely.
Anyways, well, you guys, she's been so amazing. If you didn't get a ton of value out of this, like you're crazy. There's one thing that I ask when you listen to this show is share it with a friend. If you're listening and you're like, oh my God, this really resonated with me, share it with your friends. Tell them about it. Stormy, where can they check you out?
You know what? I'm on Instagram. I'm Coach Stormy with the Y on Instagram, allthingsstormy.com. That's where you can find me.
And they can find everything about TLC and everything
Everything.
there.
YouTube, The Awakening, my poop juice. Shouts out to Belly. Poop juice, coffee, skincare. I have an amazing skincare line. I'm going to give you a gift. It's amazing. Lip glosses. Everything Stormy is right on Instagram. allthingsstormy.com.
Perfect. All right, you guys, you heard it. Follow Stormy, check her stuff out, and make sure to share this with a friend and tune in every single week for a new episode of The Danielle K. White Show.